The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship season finds its way just north of Milwaukee in the town of Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and the famous Road America for the IMSA Sports Car Weekend. These will be the first races of the season for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA presented by Yokohama since the COVID-19 pandemic hit. And there's no better place to kick off the season and go Porsche racing than at Road America. It's the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA presented by Yokohama, and this is round 2 from Road America. Hi folks, Lee Diffie with you. John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw will have the call and cover all the action today. Taking a look at the weather, 72 degrees, mostly cloudy, slight breeze from the east and a very low percentage of rain. The team of Kelly Moss Road and Race look to defend the Platinum title this year, but with a new driver. Jeff Kingsley is in the 16 Porsche. Riley Dickinson in the 54 Porsche from Moorespeed will be tough competition, as will Gold Class champion from last year, now in the Platinum class, the 27 of Sebastian Carrazzo. And in the Gold Class, 52 Kurt Fazekas will be one to watch all year. Now for a closer look at the Road America road course, let's join John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw for the race call.
We're firing up 21 4-litre flat 6 engines for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama for a 14-corner, 4-mile circuit that since the mid-1950s has been one of the places to race in the world. It's a brilliant spot and suits these Porsche GT3 Cup cars very well. From the fast entry to turn 1, where you can, if you're brave, make a mistake, to the downhill turn 5, get down the inside there on the left and try and get to the apex first. Maybe be brave at turn 8 as well, another downhill braking spot where you can make up a position, and then through the ultra fast kink and down to Canada Corner. From there it's all uphill to the start line, and we'll be doing that for 45 minutes. I'm John Hindhaugh, and with me is Jeremy Shaw, and he's got the lineup for the second round of the Porsches, which we'll go through in just a few moments time. But first, let's take a look back to what happened yesterday. Start of the race, and the pole sitter Jeff Kingsley led the field down into turn 1. It was the 53 of Riley Dickinson in his wheel traps. The rest of the field pretty much getting through the first corner without any incident. So far so good. Same place, second lap. It all starts to go wrong. Vernon McClure in the number 10 was dive bombed by Manella in the number 4. McClure came off pretty badly, got beached in the sand trap and brought out the first caution. Second caution, scary moment for Kurt Fazekas in the 52, off track at that fast right-handed kink on the back straight, and that set up a 1-lap dash to the checkered flag. And at the front of the field, Kingsley once again had to hold off the 53 of Dickinson. He does that as the rest of the field stream through. Within sight of the flag on the very last corner of the race, the number 9, Tom Balamas, pushed into the gravel. He wasn't happy. There were no dramas at the front of the field though for Kingsley. He took the victory. Dickinson trailing him home in second place. That was the first and second in the Platinum class. In the Gold category, well, quite frankly, no one had an answer for the pace of Efren Castro. He led from light to flag all the way to the checkers and got a top 10 finish overall as well.
Absolutely, John. Efren Castro should have started in 10th position overall, and maybe he can get back into that position. First of the Gold Cup contenders. Behind him on the grid in Gold Cup is Kurt Fazekas and Kurt Swearingen. The top 6 overall, Charlie Luck in car number 45 in 6th position for Wright Motorsports, alongside him for JDX Racing, Sean McAllister in number 11. Row 2, Sebastian Carrazzo in car number 27 for Kelly Moss Road and Race. His teammate Alan Metney, the fastest Masters, qualifying in 3rd position on the front row. Jeff Kingsley, the winner yesterday for Kelly Moss Road and Race, car number 16. And the pole sitter for today, for the 3rd time in his young career, the 18-year-old from Texas in the number 53 car for Moorespeed, is Riley Dickinson.
The best laid plans of any race, or indeed any race broadcast, seldom survive the first green flag. This one didn't even survive the warm-up lap. We've got the full field though back together, and Well, Castro is back in line with a damaged car as we come to the green. 45 minutes on the clock, and we are racing at Road America for the second time this weekend, and the second round of the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Now, Jeff Kingsley did a perfect start and restarts yesterday, and it looks like he's repeated that. Oh, well, he's in second at the moment as he goes down the hill, but he's got the inside line to the third corner of the track, and Dickinson wasn't able to press the advantage home in third position. It's the 99, that all-white car of Alan Metney, so it's still Kingsley from more speeds. Riley Dickinson, well, Riley Dickinson must be getting a little bored of looking at the back of that number 53 car. I bet he knows every nut, bolt and livery on there, as here comes Metney. Now, Metney is the leading Masters driver as well, so he does have the advantage of ABS assisted braking, which the platinum runners do not have, so he might be early on before the heat is into the Yokohama tyres to make an advantage with that. But once again, as per yesterday, Jeremy Shaw, the two leaders getting away from the field.
Yes, indeed, and unlike yesterday, the pole sitter did not command the race at the start, because yesterday it was Jeff Kingsley on the pole who translated that perfectly into the lead, and then went on to win the race. There's an off for Danny Hardy, but he's just going to get back on again. But yes, today, Riley Dickinson, the grid for today's race was set by the second fastest lap set during the 15-minute qualifying session yesterday morning. And that second fastest lap had Riley Dickinson on the pole, but unable to translate into the lead at the start, John.
Yes, and Riley will be disappointed with himself, having, as you rightly said, had to look at the back of that 16 car rather, for pretty much the whole of the race, and he gave away that advantage rather too early, and it was down at turn number 8 that the driver from Vero Beach, Florida, Danny Hardy, lost the TPC racing car, but he has resumed. Can't see any damage on the back, so I think that was just a mistake under braking from him. Remember, the cars are very full of fuel. They've got to do something close to 50 minutes from out of the pits back to the pits, 45 minutes of which is flat out racing around here, and there's a lot of full throttle racing as well. Efren Castro has managed to hold on to his lead in the Masters category with a little bit of damage on the front of that number 65 car when we saw him spinning before the race even got underway. Kurt Swearingen is only 0.2 of a second behind him, so he's not getting it all his own way, and that's 13th and 14th overall, that battle for the GT3 Gold Cup. That is a championship within a championship, as is the Masters category as well.
I am the trusty co-pilot. The moving part that moves all 2,000 parts. I am the translator who interprets the road, the permission to take the scenic route, and the guide that gets you there safely. I'm not just any tire. I am a Yokohama.
Yeah, a little bit of a crease in that left front of Efren Castro's normally pristine gold number 65 car, Jeremy, and what the worry will be there by the team is that front luggage compartment hatch, the bonnet if you will. It could be just a little bit damaged there and pop open.
Yeah, you're certainly going to have to. That is going to be a concern for him for sure, because It's yeah, he'll be kicking himself as well. Talk about people kicking themselves. There'll be a bunch of them kicking themselves at the moment. Certainly Riley Dickinson for losing the lead, and Efren Castro for making that mistake on the warm-up lap. That's most uncharacteristic. Did a super job yesterday. Switched teams over the winter, did Efren Castro, and now running with Kelly Moss Road and Race, which is with TPC Racing. And he has really grown, I think, working with a different race engineer, and he did an exemplary performance yesterday, but now he's got some work to do.
Be very annoyed with himself. We've all done it in karting races, indoor and outdoor.
Which I think is in the pits.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's had to come in from the lead of the race. Now that's going to dent, pun not intended, his championship challenge. Comes to TPC, comes to a halt, and they're having a look at that left-hand side at the front and paying particular attention to the Yokohama left front tyre. No pit stops due in this race, so that is going to drop them. The only good thing is that it's a very long lap here. Now, who was that going wide at turn number 5? Just finished my thought about Castro. It's a long lap, so he probably hasn't dropped off the lead lap. That then going wide was the number 4. That's Mike Manella, who had the problems yesterday at turn 1 on the second lap. Well, he's got a little bit further around. Another Florida resident. We've got 5 drivers who call Florida their home here in this first racing weekend of the 2020 IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Early days, cars still heavy, drivers protecting the Yokohama tyres so that they've got some pace at the end, but already a decent clip and pace being set at the front of the fielders. Jeff Kingsley, as we check the Yokohama fastest laps, has a 1:16.316, best in the platinum class. It's a 1:19.473 for the new leader of GT3 Gold Cup, Kurt Swearingen, who is in the ACI Motorsport car, and he sits in 13th position at the moment. So as we were from yesterday, Jeremy, first is Kingsley, second in the number 53 car, Riley Dickinson, and then the best of the Masters category, Alan Metney, in that very, very pristine white number 99 car. Bit of a battle going down. Go back to Alan in a moment. Into the first corner. I think that's been sorted out. Alan Metney, third place yesterday, best of the Masters, Jeremy Shaw, and with a car that looks very pristine, and there's a story behind that.
Well, there is, yes. I mean, Alan Metney has been absolutely very impressive over the last couple of years. He's only started his racing career in 2017. He's an interesting story in any bloke in any place. In any case, he was originally one of the many years ago, he was part of the US national skydiving team, if you can believe. That kind of partly explains why he has iFly, generally speaking, on the side of his car, because he started that iFly indoor skydiving business several years ago, which has been very successful and very popular. But he started racing about 3 years ago. He's won the Masters category in each of the last 2 years, very, very impressively. He had a brilliant run here last year at Road America, where he qualified third, finished second overall, that is, against all the youngsters as well. Then before, just a few weeks ago, he was testing his car to get back in a swing, ready for here at Road Atlanta. Had a big crash, destroyed the car, so was trying to figure out what to do with that. Get a different car, buy a new car, whatever. He rented one of the Moore Speed cars, which is actually the car that Zachary Robichon won a string of races, you might remember, a couple of years ago. Loved the car, bought it on the spot after a 1 hour test, had a shakedown at Blackport Farms, took it over to the Kelly Moss Road and Race team, and they have prepared the car for this weekend in a major thrash. And yesterday he finished in the third place, so it doesn't look quite the same as it would normally right now, but it's running clearly very, very well indeed. Alan Metney there in kind of a 99 in third position. And that's 3 Kelly Moss machines in the top 4, with Kingsley leading, then the most speed of Riley Dickinson in second, and the white, all white, almost looks like it's come from the showroom floor GT3 Cup car, going under the Briggs and Stratton Bridge now and down under
braking to turn number 3. That's Metni Carrazzo, Sebastian Carrazzo, leading light in the Gold Cup category last season, stepped up to the Platinum class. He's the next car back in the highlighter yellow car with the orangey stripe. He's under a little bit of pressure at the moment from the number 11, that's the red and white Porsche, as they go down to turn 5. That's Sean McAllister for JDX Racing, and that's a decent little battle there, but nobody at the moment with the pace of Jeff Kingsley, who's converted again. A decent start, was at the lead by turn 3 on lap 1. He's pulling away. This is the best battle on the circuit at the moment, through Hurry Downs and on towards the left-hander at turn 8 before the carousel. Then the carousel, turning right, it seems forever. Just feeling the grip from those front Yokohamas, trying to put as little steering into the car as possible so you're not scrubbing off too much speed or too much performance from the tyres. Same can be said through the kink as well. Ultra quick, absolutely committed through there. And then the long run down to Canada Corner. Just a tricky little left-hand kink just before you come into the braking area for Canada Corner. And the surface there is a little undulating. And once you get to the right-hand side, if you're trying to make a pass, it's possibly not got as much grip there as well, because that is not the racing line through there. For the moment, Carrazzo holding off McAllister.
Yokohama Tire has been the technical and marketing partner with the IMSA GT3 Cup Series since 2009. This partnership has fostered great competition in over 100 races and has enabled Yokohama to build a new ultra-high performance tire for the North American driving enthusiast. The Advan Apex is the latest chapter in Yokohama's performance tire story that began over 100 years ago.
Dave Baker in the 56. That's TPC and Top Racing, respectively. And then it's the number 48 of Dave Brule, Senior. And he has got a couple of seconds on Mike Manella, who has recovered in that number 4 car after the problems yesterday.
Yeah, David Brule had a really good run yesterday, but he only started racing in this series last year, and he did a really good job. He's 72 years of age, which is pretty remarkable, I think, for somebody who's kind of starting out at this level. And to be in the top 10 yesterday pretty comfortably, again today is in the 9th position. Very impressive for David Brule. He's from Channing, Michigan, and he drives for the Kelly Moss Road and Race team.
For those of you perhaps coming to IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama for the first time, it is an interesting mix, Jeremy, and we've all often commented on the variety of drivers. It's a non-pro class, so no pro drivers are allowed. So it's a nice mix of what I would say are career amateur drivers who aren't looking to be the next works driver for Porsche and go to Le Mans necessarily. They're enjoying their racing, and you notice quite a lot of Masters class drivers here. That's for drivers over a certain age. They've reached a time of their life when they want to go and enjoy themselves, and perhaps they've been racing other things in their earlier years. That's part of the grid. The other part, like the guys at the front, particularly Jeff Kingsley and Riley Dickinson, those guys are looking to use this as a stepping stone and get noticed and possibly move on into the professional ranks. And it makes for an interesting competition through the year.
It certainly does. I mean, Jeff Kingsley, he's just 22 years of age, from Ajax in Ontario, Canada, so it's a suburb of Toronto. He's been racing in the Porsche series now for a couple of years. He started off in karting, as so many kids do, then moved on to Formula 1600 in Canada, had a little bit of success there. He'd raced touring cars as well, but he had his eyes set on being a professional racer, and he figured that joining the GT3 Cup Challenge initially in Canada would be a really good opportunity for him. So, he's done that. He had some good performances last season, a couple of second-place finishes, including one right here at Road America. This year, he's joined the championship-winning team from last year, Kelly Moss Road and Race. Won yesterday very handsomely from the pole position, and out in front again today. Similarly, the second place driver, Riley Dickinson, well, he's just 18 years of age. Last year was his debut really in any sort of race. He did some karting before that, but not much more than that. Did a little bit of testing in a Mazda MX-5. But this is his first step on the racing ladder, and he very much has already caught the attention of people, because this year, you see a pass there for fourth position.
I don't think that's quite over yet. Carrazzo back down the inside at turn number 6. He's going to dispute this. He'll be on the wrong side at 7. Gets a little bit sideways. Almost a touch. Oh, he's got through. Finally makes it stick. Well, that's been brewing for a little while. Sean McAllister in the Shell-sponsored red and white car, ahead of the Allied highlighter yellow and orange car of the graduate from the Gold Cup, Sebastian Carrazzo. Sebastian, that was a decent rear guard action from Sebastian, but a good pass from Sean McAllister for JTX Racing, and immediately puts a little bit of daylight between himself. Now, can he chase down Alan Metney for a spot on the overall podium? That will be the question, with still just on half an hour to go in round 2 of the IMSA Road Race Showcase event for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Well, nice clean pass, Jeremy, for that 4th position for Sean McAllister, and now immediately begins to set his sights on that all-white car of Alan Metney. Leader goes into the first corner. Half an hour to go, so 2/3 of the race still to be completed. And at the moment, Jeff Kingsley will be thinking, yeah, this is what happened yesterday. Where's everybody gone? Actually, I bet he's not. I bet he's happy as a clam, isn't he, at the moment? He hasn't had to deal with any challenge whatsoever.
He hasn't, John, and not only that, there's been no touch wood full course cautions yet to bring that margin back again. But I'm sure that David Moore, who is the team principal for the second place car, Riley Dickinson, will be really disappointed here, because he had the pole position. He knew he had a fast car, but he did struggle a little bit yesterday, Riley Dickinson. They were trying to figure out what was wrong with the car. They were trying to make some changes overnight, and they clearly don't seem to have worked at least to this point in the race. The gap from first to second has remained pretty constant after the first couple of laps, about 2.5 seconds. So perhaps Riley Dickinson's car is set up more to become even more competitive in the latter stages of this race, because the management of these Yokohama tyres is pretty important, and oftentimes you'll see drivers run really quickly early on and then fade later in a race, and the other way around as well. And I'm sure for Riley Dickinson, he'll be hoping the latter is the case. Yeah,
it's a good point, Jeremy. This 45-minute race, roughly the stint of an endurance race. Meantime, bit of action further back down the field, and that was the number 18 losing a spot, that being in the hands at the moment of Richard Edge. We're not yet at half distance yet here, and obviously the cars have to be fueled to get all the way to the end, and there's no tyre changes, no planned tyre changes. So the option there is for the driver and the teams to work together and get a car that could be very quick at the start of the race, and you might be able to build up a bit of an advantage, but maybe the performance won't be as good towards the end, or conversely do that the other way. Now, why is that important? Well, particularly for the younger drivers here, perhaps who are going on to that career in endurance racing. 45 minutes nowadays is about a stint of endurance racing. Probably at the end of 45 minutes, if you're at the Rolex 24 Hours at Daytona or the Sebring 12 Hours, you're probably not going to get out of the car at that point. You'll stay in for one or perhaps even two more tanks of fuel, two more stints. But what all of these drivers are learning in this category is how to marshal their resources to be good when they need it to be good. So we might yet see things change around later in the race. Now, Mike Manella, and these two knew each other from earlier in the weekend. Vernon McClure was rather attacked by Mike Manella at turn one, second lap. Sorry, yes, it was the other way around. Yes, yes, it was. It was turn one, lap 2 on the Saturday race. So we'll keep an eye on those two having a little bit of history. Is that one of those stories we're going to be following throughout the 2020 season? A season, of course, that's got underway very late. Oh, and another spin. And again, it's Danny Hardy in the Student Wireless Hardy Family Foundation TP racing car. That was coming out of turn 5. I would suggest, from the attitude of the car, of that TPC racing car, with the red, white and black livery, the Antler livery, that he was a little bit excitable on the throttle coming out of turn 5. He was on his own and trying to gain on the cars ahead. Yeah, way too much speed in and a bit too much right foot. That does not make for a happy set of rear Yokohamas. Back end gives up. Yokohama's excellent tyres give loads of grip. Porsche, fabulous car, which gives loads of grip. But unfortunately, there comes a point where physics do take over, and they don't happen outside the Newtonian laws. At the front of the field, Jeff Kingsley continues. The Yokohama fastest lap in platinum still with him, and now to 2:12.283. Kurt Swearingen still has the Gold Cup Yokohama fastest lap for ACI Motorsports with that 2:16.4. This again, Jeremy, this is laying down, I think, for both of these drivers, but particularly for Jeff, this is laying down a very ominous storyline for the rest of the year and for the rest of the season. Kurt will be delighted. He hasn't got to deal with Efren Castro, who was rather the architect of his own misfortune, spinning off on the formation lap. But Kurt's taking his chance. He's sitting in 12th position. His lap times are pretty good. Ahead of him is Charlie Craig, which is a platinum class car. Kurt will take this. There's no asterisk next to this, saying that the guy on pole position stuffed his car off on the formation lap.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And for Kurt Swearingen, he and Efren Castro were teammates last season, so he will be enjoying this, no doubt about it. Kurt, he joined this championship last season for the ACI Motorsports team, and his best finish coming into this year was no fewer than 6 third-place finishes last year. So already yesterday he went better than that with a second-place finish, and now looking to score his first win in the Gold Cup class. That's Kurt Swearingen from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and he's got plenty of racing under his belt in the PCA and Porsche Owners Club classes prior to joining the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama,
which is effectively the top class of Porsche racing in the USA, and on the IMSA event card at the IMSA Road Race Showcase. So again, for those younger drivers, an opportunity to get their talent seen by the team managers of the teams in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. ACI, Jeremy, they've got 3 cars in the race, 2 in the gold and 1 in the platinum. Not one of the names that regular viewers and listeners will know, like the JDXs, the Kelly Moss, the Wrights, the TPCs, who we've seen with multiple cars down through the years. But ACI have got a bit of history.
Well, yeah, I mean, mainly in the the kind of amateur or pro-am classes of Porsches. Just moved into this championship last season, as you say, with 3 or 4 cars. It was Charlie Luck with the problem.
It's a
second place car in Masters.
And that is the left front tyre issue. Now, has there been contact there? Has he run over a curb? He should get that car back to the pits, but it's with 22 minutes to go, just under. There's very little chance of Charlie then getting a decent result. Well, Charlie, his second name is Luck, and quite often he has none of it. Has been involved over the years in a few nasty schmozzles which haven't been necessarily of his own making, and he'll tour back round. So that is going to promote Mike Levitas into second place in the Platinum Masters class, and he's got a handy 5-second lead over David Brill Sr.
I am the trusty co-pilot. The moving part that moves all 2,000 parts. I am the translator who interprets the road, the permission to take the scenic route, and the guide that gets you there safely. I'm not just any tire. I am a Yokohama.
Down into turn 1, a little look to the right-hand side by the number 10, the white and red striped Vernon McClure TPC racing car, and Mike Manella, the MCR racing machine ahead of him. They are battling just inside the top 10, 9th and 10th position. Came together yesterday in rather ignominious fashion at turn 1 on lap 2. Here comes Charlie Luck. Already the team have a new tyre, Wright Motorsports, just with that Singleton entry this year, Jeremy, and Wright have been one of the powerhouse super teams down through the years here. But Charlie, still turning out Charlie there, and they were ready for him with the new Yokohama. Good team, well organised.
Yeah, very much so. As you say, one of the multiple championship winners in this championship. It's been a few years for them, but the team still runs cars in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship as well. So the team is plenty active, but it's certainly surprising to see just the one car from the Wright Motorsports team this weekend. They're in terms of overall wins, the second most successful team in this championship. Kelly Moss, since the inception of this championship back in 2005, Kelly Moss has won 60 races after yesterday's win for Jeff Kingsley. Wright Motorsports is next on the list with 27.
Oh wow, yeah. So when I said a little bit of success, I may have been slightly underplaying that just a wee bit. Jeff Kingsley has lapped the first round Gold Cup winner. That is Efren Castro, who's back up into 4th in class, by the way, or at least is in 4th in class. Should have mentioned Kurt Fazekas after the big accident yesterday. Just lost it coming through the kink. Not the first person to do that, will not be the last. But Kelly Moss Road and Race not able to get the number 52 Porsche back on the grid. So Efren Castro, despite his indiscretion on the formation lap when he spun off and damaged the left front of the car, you've got to be so careful with that because there are oil and water radiators in that area of the car. Well, Efren is still going to pick up 4th place points, so not so bad. But he'll be kicking himself. That was a bit of a rookie error, warming up the Yokohamas a little bit with a little bit too much effort, and lost the rear end of the car, speared off into the retaining wall. So Kingsley now has just stretched out to 4.5 seconds at the front of the field. Oh, there's a touch. And David Baker goes into the wall hard. He's going to hit the tyres as well, and does. Down into turn 5. Well, that was a very big impact. You're coming over the top of that rise, absolutely full speed, and even though it's downhill, it's still quite a late braking area. 16 minutes and 45 seconds to go, and it is a safety car. Full course yellow is out. And, well, damage to the back end and the side of David Baker's car. That number 56 from Top Racing. Already the IMSA AMR Rapid Response Porsche Cayenne is there, along with the Road America safety unit. Door open straight away, already talking to David to see and to ascertain his condition. And track services are there already as well with the flatbed, because that's going to take a bit of moving, that car, wedged as it is in between the tyre stacks, which are put there to slow the car down. There is a cutout there. It's behind the paddock. It's one of the circuit options here at Road America. And
that's a great change. You talk about people have no luck. David Baker hasn't had much luck the last couple of years. He is the most successful, most experienced driver in this championship. This is his 98th start in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. His debut was back in 2013 at Watkins Glen, been pretty much an ever-present since then, until he had a big crash halfway through last season, was forced to miss the end of the races. Was he helped here? Yes, he was.
I think he was.
Michael Manella got into the back of him in the braking area there and punted him off the road. That's you got to pin that one on Michael, I'm afraid, and you got to feel for David Baker, because he had a huge wreck last year and was pretty badly injured. Great to see him back again this weekend, but unfortunately it's ended in another incident, but not of his making, quite clearly.
No, they were coming up. It was a battle for position, 7th, 8th and 9th, with Michael Manella and Vernon McClure coming up on David Baker, but clear to see from the Yokohama replay that there was a little... Now, you might think, seeing that, well, he barely touched him. That's all you need, Jeremy, isn't it? The cars here, you know, when people race, at whatever level they race, they are on the absolute ragged edge of braking. To drive by someone, you can't just push the accelerator throttle pedal a bit harder to get down the inside of somebody. You can't just brake that tiny bit later. It sounds easy to say that, but everybody is on the limit all the way through these races, and it was just enough to unsettle David's car and make the braking... Well, in fact, it wasn't even the fact that he couldn't get the braking done, it was the fact that it pitched it sideways whilst the car was already braking. Already the weight of the car going towards the front Yokohamas. So we're going to have just under 4 minutes. That's probably going to give us 2 laps of green flag racing. 2 laps, 8 miles to settle the second round of the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. The safety car driver uses the awesome power of the Porsche safety car to clear off. It's a single file restart. Jeff Kingsley then, weaving left and right. He likes to go before the apex of the final corner. He does so, and fair play to Efren Castro. He stays out of the way and in fact dives into the pits. That's very, very sporting of him. It's not going to affect his finish in the gold category, but he's not interfering with what's going on. Riley Dickinson didn't get a good restart, and he's got Alan Metney sniffing around the back of his car. Alan comes to the to the left-hand side rather, trying to go the long way round into the first corner. That doesn't work. Does he get a decent run down towards through the kink at 2, down towards 3 now? Carrazzo looking busy around the back of Sean McAllister's car as well. But once again, it's Jeff Kingsley, an absolute masterclass on the starts and restarts all this opening weekend of 2020 for the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama, and down into one of the first danger areas. He's got 10, 12, possibly even more Porsche 911's lengths between himself and the chasing pack. Now, that was Carrazzo losing a place to Mike Levitas. Great piece of racing from the TPC driver. The number 36 moving up then into 5th position. Remember, the Masters class cars, of which Mike is driving one, do have the advantage of ABS. Say again?
What happened to Jeff Kingsley? He suddenly slowed at the top of the hill. He's just been passed by Riley Dickinson.
I was too busy looking for... Oh, he went wide.
On at turn 5, yeah.
Went wide at number 5. I was too busy looking at the battle for 5th place behind. My apologies. And Dickinson goes through. Oh my goodness, after we've been building Kingsley up so much.
Well, he had made a brilliant restart, no question about that, and I was surprised that Riley Dickinson was caught out there at the restart again for the third or fourth time. But Riley Dickinson did a good job to hold the inside line to turn 1 to make sure there was no way through for Alan Metney. So that was smart, and then that put him in a position to take advantage of that mistake down there for Jeff Kingsley in turn 5.
I think in Riley's defence, he did have Efren Castro right ahead of him, and I'm not sure he knew what Efren was going to do.
No, Efren was out of the way. He'd come into the pits.
Yeah, there was just a little bit of separation that backed him up, I think, a little bit into Metney. But he's leading now, whatever happens. So across the line, and this then will be the final lap. The white flag is out and being waved with some gusto on the starter stand. Jeff Kingsley will be kicking himself. Just a tiny little bit of loss of concentration, unless there was something on the track there in the braking area. That was the spot where David Baker's accident started, but he went long, did a good job actually not to completely loop it. I think he realised pretty early on in the braking that he was going to struggle, Jeremy. He didn't try to turn it in and lose the back end. He ran long, went off onto the dirty runoff area, but at least at that point he ended up pointed in the right direction into the pit lane. Incident responsibility for Michael Manella as a drive through for the tap on the back of David Baker, which caused that nasty incident. Less than 2 miles to go now of the second race of the 2020 IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama, and an unexpected lead for Riley Dickinson and more speed. Jeff Kingsley, don't think he's managed to clean the tyres up enough to be able to bridge that gap. Looks like he's struggling for pace just a little bit. It was a 2:16 for Jeff last time around against a 2:14 for Riley Dickinson. All down to that little error at turn number 5. Riley Dickinson then leads them out. He's got enough here. Now he's got to make sure there's one heavy-ish braking point and one a bit of a braking point. That's down at Canada Corner for the heavy, and slightly less of a braking area is on the final corner. Kingsley's coming. He's trying to close it down. Gets a good run out of Canada Corner, but there's not going to be enough time. He's going to want at least another couple of laps, and I'm afraid that time has elapsed. And Jeff Kingsley, who was Mr. Perfect on the Saturday race, has not been able to repeat. And Riley Dickinson, by keeping himself in the running, even with a poor restart with 2 laps to go, is going to come through. And Riley Dickinson sees the checkered flag and takes round 2 of the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. And that is a very, very good haul of points this weekend for the More Speed driver. Second place, Jeff Kingsley will be somewhat disappointed. Alan Metney repeats a 3rd place as he did yesterday and wins the Masters from Sean McAllister in 4th place for JDX. Mike Levitas will get 2nd in the Masters. He's ahead of Sebastian Carrazzo in 6th. David Brule will pick up a podium spot in 3rd for Kelly Moss Road and Race for the Masters category. And in the Gold Cup, Kurt Swearingen taking advantage of the mistake made by the pole sitter on the warming up lap when Efren Castro looped the car and put it into the wall. He had to come in and change a left front tyre. and dropped down to 1 lap off the lead and 4th position.
Welcome back to Road America here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, where race 2 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA, presented by Yokohama, is complete. Time to go down to Victory Lane and hear from the winner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jeff did a great job all weekend long. He definitely kept us honest. You know, we were having to work pretty late last night so we could keep up with him. You know, it was a great race between us both. I think this year's gonna be a lot of fun between both of us. I think we're gonna have a great season. You know, I can't thank everyone at More Speed enough. I feel like, you know, today was a team win for sure. You know, they stayed up late last night making sure the car was perfect for me for today, and you know, we stayed up late last night doing data and all that, so making sure all the boxes were checked for today. So I can't thank everyone at More Speed enough, as well as, you know, everyone at IMSA, Porsche Motorsport North America, and Yokohama for putting together a race like this. You know, obviously with the current situation with Corona, it's definitely special to be out here today racing with everyone. You know, being back out at a track, no place better than Road America to do it. So can't thank everyone enough involved with the series, as well as everyone at More Speed. And I just, you know, can't wait to get back out at the next one.
Well, that is a win and a second for Riley Dickinson. That's exactly the same as the points haul this weekend from Jeff Kingsley. So those two marking themselves out early, Jeremy Shaw, as the championship contenders in Platten. Alan Metney has netted a couple of third places overall and won the Masters twice, so he's got a decent lead in the Masters category, and it will be Kurt Swearingen who leads the Gold Cup after his win today, with Efren Castro only picking up 4th position as we leave this circuit this weekend. Jeremy, have you got some unofficial points for me?
Yeah, indeed. So, as you say, with the first and a second for each of Jeff Kingsley and Riley Dickinson, they'll be tied on 67 points. In third position with those two third-place finishes, Alan Metney. Sean McAllister will have 4th position on 54 to the 53 of Sebastian Carrazzo, then Michael Levitas. Masters class, yes, all Alan Metney. Into second place will be Michael Levitas over David Brule in third place in the points. And in Gold Cup, with the win today, Kurt Swearingen on 67 points to the 63 of yesterday's winner, Efren Castro, and a 62 for Bart Collins.
The next race on NBCSN for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA, presented by Yokohama, will be round 3 and 4 from the Michelin GT Challenge at VIR, the beautiful 18-turn, 3¼ mile road course in Virginia. NBC Sports is your exclusive home for IMSA sports car racing. The Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA, presented by Yokohama, put on a terrific show. Congratulations to the winners today. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of the International Motorsports Association. We would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.